Thank you everyone for joining us today for our dispatch webcast. In our session today, we will be discussing what dispatch is, why it's important for food processors, and some of the common challenges with it. We will also show how you can improve this process by using software and hear from our customers about their experiences. A little bit about me. I'm Dustin. I've been working with Morel for the last 10 years, focusing on software solutions. I would like to start here with this statement. Shipping is the last point of proof of delivery and is decisive in the accuracy of invoicing and measuring customer service level. In other words, if the shipping isn't right, the customer isn't happy and the revenues will suffer. What then needs to happen to make the shipping correct? If we break down dispatch, then we have a few topics to discuss. We need to get the right product to the right customer at the right time, every time. The first part of our discussion today is a review. In our labeling webcast, we explored how you can use software to increase the efficiency of your production operation and the accuracy of the labels. If you missed this event, please check our events page for the next webcast. As a short summary, we discussed how we can use software to quickly and easily adapt to changes from regulations, customers, and marketing. At the same time, we increase visibility on production and gain confidence that the right label is on the right box. Therefore, the labeling webcast is about the right product. When we talk about the right customer, what does it mean? We need to take our product and make sure it's assigned to the customer with the amounts that they need. In many cases, there is some sort of printed or handwritten form that describes the work to be done. The results are tallied on paper and delivered to another person or department for transcription. Have you ever worked somewhere with a process such as this? Printed order sheets seem reasonable. What are the potential points of failure with printed order sheets? Well, it's hard to tell the completion status. If there's a change, then the original document could still be in circulation and lead to mistakes if it's not replaced. How often do you have demanding customers with last-minute changes? It also seems reasonable that we need to go find the products, stack them up, and attach the order sheet to the pallet. If everything goes as planned, this works just fine. I think we can all agree that everything doesn't go as planned. As the business grows, these problems can start to surface. What if the wrong product is stacked, or the wrong order line is marked as complete, or the order sheet falls off the pallet? Okay, we're done with our work and we leave it to someone else to do the paperwork. Let's review our goals. The right product to the right customer at the right time. In this example, the pick sheet shows one line under and one line over. It could be a typo, or it could mean the order is shorted. If the results are posted later, how can we identify problems before it leaves the building? Let's review our mission statement and how important it is to get our shipment correct. We have explored order picking a little. How about we look at shipping now? This is also known as the right time. In many cases, there is some sort of printed or handwritten form that describes the work to be done. The results are tallied on paper and delivered to another person or department for transcription. The shipping paperwork is generated as the product is handed over to the carrier. Let's talk about the printed load sheets. It's hard to have visibility on the loading status without talking to the crew. It's also hard to communicate changes. If the pallet was allocated incorrectly, Can they easily identify the problem in this situation? Shouldn't it be easy to take the pallet and load it up? Well, with this approach, maybe not. There's no control over where to find the products. There's no control over how to load the products. And there's also no control over if the products were loaded. If we take an example, is the first order loaded last so it can be easily accessed at the first stop? Or will extra products need to be unloaded to reach it? Okay, we're done with our work, and we leave it to someone else to do the paperwork. Let's review our goals. The right product to the right customer at the right time. Let's also review part of our mission statement. Shipping is the last point of proof of delivery. Let's take a moment to review our challenges. We took a piece of paper, we marked on it, and left it to someone else to transcribe it to assign it to a customer. We then took a piece of paper, marked on it, and left it to someone else to transcribe it to prove it was delivered. Is it clear to you what Big Box Store 929 was shipped on January 1st by looking at these forms? Maybe the better question is, if Big Box Store 929 claims they didn't get what they ordered, how fast can your business supply evidence to disprove them? Let's take a short break now to hear what some of Morel's customers say about managing the dispatch process with software.
My name is Jared Brand. I'm the Director of IT Factory Systems for Trident Seafoods. Trident is a vertically integrated seafood company. We operate facilities in Alaska, Asia, Europe, and South America. Trident currently operates close to 30 processing facilities around the world, of which 20 of those sites are operating Innova food processing software. We produce anything from commodity types products, which pollock, salmon, halibut, and cod, either in a commodity block form or H&G, to finished products that we do with ikura portions, and then value-added products that you would see at your common grocery store. So from a food safety standpoint, I think Innova has helped Trident accomplish a couple things regarding primarily a lot of the benefits around traceability. Being able to do individual box unique identifiers, which are linked to a pallet, which are linked to a shipment, and being able to trace the raw material to the finished product and then to the container and to the customer that it goes to, I think is extremely important. Being able to collect the right data, present it in a way that is useful is probably the most important thing when you're talking about data visualization and improving parts of your business. There's a lot of ways to collect data, but if you don't present it to the end user in the right way, then it's not going to help them run the business. For Trident, Innova is a full production control software that provides control from landing of the fish on the dock through primary processing and all the way through finished goods into shipping. Along the way, you get various data from integrated equipment that allows you to do more business analytics and traceability of your product throughout the process.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us for the testimonials. We've now discussed the product, the customer, and the time, also known as the shipping process. Why is every time important? If we go back to our mission statement, part of it speaks about customer service levels. In order to be effective, we need to be able to repeat the process and easily access evidence in the event of claims. Let me introduce Gail Jansow. She is one of our key account managers and would like to share something with you about the importance of dispatch.
Thanks, Dustin. So let's say that I'm a small producer and my customers are primarily restaurants in my local area. They order from me 2 times a week to maintain peak freshness and good quality of product. Because I know my food supply chain, my inventory, and I have good dispatch practices, I can get the right product to the right customer at the right time. This allows my customers to better understand their business and in turn serve their customers better, which allows them to have more return customers. My customer comes back to me and the circle continues. Conversely, if I'm unsure about my inventory levels and dispatch orders are not being fulfilled correctly, there's a possibility that I'm not getting the right product to the right customer at the right time. And then my customer is upset with me and our relationship could suffer from there because they can't plan out what their business dealings are further in the future.
Thank you, Gail, for that insight. It is good to hear some real-world scenarios about the importance of dispatch. Now that we've established what dispatch is and why it's important, let's take a look at some practical examples using our software solution. Okay, let's have take a little example of a hands-on here. So our task today in this hands-on is to ship some tiger shrimp to a customer. So we can see here in the bottom that this is our shipping cooler and the contents of our shipping cooler. We see we have a staging area, and we say also here we have a shipment in Bay 1. This here is our scanning interface. So you would see this when you're doing the scanning operations here. And let's first find a sales order. So we're going to go and look at our sales orders. We can see all of our open sales orders. We're going to select this one. And then if we go to our order info, we can see our order lines. So we need some tiger shrimp, 24 cases for this order. So if we go and look in our inventory, we see that we have tiger shrimp in 3C. We also have some tiger shrimp in 1C. So let's go back and scan our product onto this sales order. So let's just take this pallet number 50. We go find the pallet. We take the barcode and we scan it and we assign it to our sales order. If we then look at our dashboard, we see that it has now been allocated to this sales order. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to stage this for shipment. So in order to do that, we go into our inventory section and we select staging 1, and then we scan that same pallet tag, the same license plate, and it goes into stage 1. If we see our dashboard, we see that the contents are updated and this pallet is now ready to go onto a truck. It's already been allocated to a sales order. It's been put in the staging area, and then the shipping people come and grab it. And in order to do that part, we're going to go back to our dispatch section and our shipping menu. So now we need to select our shipment, which is this one. We can see that it's going via UPS, and scan shipment, we are going to add that same pallet to the shipment. Now that that's been successful, our dashboard will be updated and we can see we have now shipped this product. And in order to get our shipping paperwork properly, we need to verify that the shipping is correct, and then we go in and we close it. So now that we've done that, we can go into our shipping screen and we're going to select that same shipment, which is number 19, and we see that we have shipped this sales order, which is for Big Box Store 848. We see that this is the shipping number, which is 43434, and the transporter, we're sending this via the UPS as a carrier, and the contents of this shipment is 4 boxes of tiger shrimp and the total weight of 40.4 pounds. How do we make all this possible? Well, each unit is unique and has qualities we use to determine its properties. For example, it has a weight, a product code, and a lot number. If we take it a step further, it also has a sales order, an inventory location, and a shipment. By examining all these properties, we can get a quick, easy, and accurate view. You may be asking yourself, big deal, each of these units has properties. Well, now is where it really gets interesting. We use barcodes and scanners to quickly and easily update these properties without having to do any paperwork. The result of this is that we can have confidence that the inventory levels are correct, the orders are correct, and the shipments are correct without having to ask anyone. All of this information is visible. Let's summarize before we move on. We can view our order status on the scanner client, so we always have the most up-to-date view of what the orders are. We can see where our products are, so we can easily find them on inventory. We can allocate the products to orders and stage them for easy loading. We then scan them onto the shipment, dispatch the shipment, and then the shipping paperwork is available. We've now gone through some practical examples, and I hope that makes everything more clear to you. Next, let me introduce Michael Parrish. He's a product manager at Morel for food safety, dispatch, and labeling solutions. He's going to give us some insight about another side of customer service levels.
Thanks, Dustin. Yeah, customer service levels are definitely a key to your business, but another factor to success is claims handling. So businesses do their best to minimize when something goes wrong, but inevitably, mistakes happen. Things go wrong. So it's really a question of how do you handle this? What do you do as a business when something does go wrong? And that's really the key to this. So, with the power of software, you can have a reaction that is the difference between, say, a recall and a withdrawal. It could also be the difference between retaining a customer and unfortunately losing that customer. So the information that we've been talking about, say, the traceability information, so lots, POs, sales orders, shipping information, product information, all of that is key to really being able to react swiftly. So let's take one example of a situation. You have a customer who's ordered a product and they're claiming that they didn't get delivered the right product. So what do? If you have this software in place, you're able to look at the single source of that truth, look into that traceability information, and pinpoint what did go wrong. And it doesn't matter whose fault it is, but you're able to quickly isolate that issue and do something about it, which is going to help retain that customer. Your reaction to that and the quick reaction really helps this situation. And that's a big power to the software solution that we're talking about.
Thank you, Michael, for your insight. Now that we have a software solution for the dispatch process, what other added value can we achieve by having a system like this? Well, let's take a couple examples by using our integration services module. One, we can send the order results to your accounting software automatically to make the invoicing process easier. There's no need to transcribe it at this point. Two, we can use the shipment information to send advanced shipment notices or ASNs to the destinations of the product. You may be asking yourself about BLs, or bills of lading. We've done all sorts of BLs for different customers. There is a report design tool that can be used to create the exact BL you need, so you'll have the ability to present the shipping paperwork immediately as it's dispatched. This also allows you to have a full history of this paperwork. Report Designer can be used for all sorts of other reporting tasks and is available in all systems. For those of you with a savvy IT department, you can use this tool on your own without having to approach our service group for help. The data is also available in other systems, such as SQL Server reporting services and Power BI. I started with this statement, and I would like to close with a statement. Shipping is the last point of proof of delivery and is decisive in the accuracy of invoicing and measuring customer service level. In other words, if the shipping isn't right, the customer isn't happy and revenues will suffer. I hope you learned something today about how we can improve this process using software. This concludes our presentation on dispatch. Before we move on to the question and answer part of the session, we would like to invite you back to our next webcast, which will cover the ins and outs of inventories. Thank you all for joining us here today. We will start our question and answer session shortly. Thanks for joining us for our question and answer session. Our first question here, which is a good one, will this session be rescheduled? And yes, it will be. And we're also planning on sending out a link so that you can watch it at your leisure. Please hit the Q&A button and enter in your questions if you can, if you have any, and we'll get them to our panel here as quickly as possible. Let me introduce our panelists today. First, coming from Kansas, we have Michael Parrish. He's a product manager here for the software group. And next, we have Louis Bardick. He comes at us from Illinois. He is the head of our service organization here in North America. So please give us some questions for our short Q&A. So the next question we have here is, what is the next webcast? It's a good question. The next one in our series, this is the second of our series. The next one will be the ins and outs of inventory. And it is bridging the gap between your production and your shipping departments. Here's a good question, I think, for Michael. So, are your dispatch solutions industry specific or standard?
Yeah, it's a good question. It doesn't particularly matter what industry, fish, meat, poultry. We've got the expertise in all of those three disciplines. We definitely cater towards each nuance of those industries for our dispatch solutions, but it also offers some flexibility for just even further nuances of practices or integrations or what have you. So yeah, we do cater to industry specific needs, and we do have some standards there, but we also have the flexibility to change and adapt as necessary.
Good. Thank you very much. I think the next question here is for Louis. And the question is, I noticed you are picking your orders from inventory. Well, what are the options besides that? Can I create them in production, or does it have to be from inventory?
Yeah, you can definitely create them as soon as you're building that box on a, say, a Morel packing station or a third-party packing hardware. You can pack to a shipment directly. You can also do this on auto labeling lines as well. Doesn't necessarily have to come directly out of inventory.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thanks a lot for that.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a question for Michael. Can the dispatch data integrate with my ERP?
Sure. Almost have to, right? So what we do is one part of the cycle, and then ERP systems handle another part of the cycle. So through our integration services, the data can be communicated and exchanged, and both systems can be in sync in that regard. So that's just a natural part of our capability.
Good. Thanks a lot. I think this next question here is for me. How common is it in the US to use pen and paper to handle dispatch data? That is exactly why we're having the session. I think that there are certainly some people that are ahead of the game when it comes to dispatch data, like Trident, for instance, which you heard in our testimonial. But we have a long ways to go in this digital revolution that we're embarking upon. So good. Thanks for that question.
Dustin, I'd actually even elaborate on that. So I think we still see pen and paper, but I think also we see people utilizing software in some capacity, but it's one system here, another system there. It's actually can be even more confusing of what does what. So it's also another reason why we want to bring this up and highlight our solutions as this whole entire package, because it is lots of different modules working together to make this very clean. So transitioning from pen and paper to multiple different software solutions can be just as difficult too. So this is a nice path to get everything in line and correct.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. I think that ties in with our next question, also for you, which is, what is the future of dispatch solutions?
Yeah, so it'd be nice to have the crystal ball, but I would argue there's some trends, right? So Industry 4.0 kind of things, if you will. So more automated solutions, but I'd argue that's not just going to be automation of equipment. That's definitely a strong piece, but it's going to be automation in terms of decision processing, especially on the dispatch end. So usually utilizing more AI, better integrated systems, just make things that much smoother. And then I also think that there's a trend towards more consumer-based ordering, or the change of that ordering practice that will bring, it will really force and bring more flexibility that needs to be a standard delivery in these solutions as well.
Good. Thanks a lot. Okay, next on our list, we have a question here for Louis. Can you pick items from one order from multiple inventory locations, on-site and off-site, and roll them into one shipment?
Okay, yeah, let me go through that. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
So if I can play that back again, so we have somebody who's performing an inventory operation. They're pulling from multiple inventories, one on site, another off site, and pulling it to a singular order, correct? And putting it on a transport.
Yeah.
That sounds like it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. If that off-site inventory data is available, I think that would definitely be a capability of Innova. We do require those physical records, but we can move them virtually as well.
Good. Yeah, I have a little to add to that. I think that when we're talking about offsite inventory, that it's more of an integration sort of question
Correct.
than a pure shipping question, and it's easier if you're on a local system. Having multiple inventory locations is no problem whatsoever. The offsite part is a little tricky, but there you go. Okay.
It play into our MDM structure as well, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah.
Okay, last question. We're running out of time here. How about, let's see, what haven't we covered? Hey, Louis, since you're on the horn here,
Okay.
How about a question for you? Can I have a dashboard like the one in the demonstration in my factory?
Absolutely. You can have it on your PC as well as on an overhead display.
Good. Okay, here's an interesting question while you're here. Maybe we have to take this one together. What is the difference between Innova inventory and SAP or ERP inventories?
Mm.
You want to take a swing at that, or should I?
I can take a swing at it.
Okay.
I think it all depends on Innova is built more around, say, fulfilling the customer's need, and as well providing a level of strict traceability to the product, as well as the tracking, the details that product that we want to know the DNA of that product. I think when you look at products like SAP, I think they work more off of looking at the summary information of what's coming into production. They rely heavily on process orders to knit that data together. But then SAP plays more strengths through feeding the general ledger with costing of inventory, valuing that customer associated product to that inventory, and so on, as well as looking out even further into, say, maybe their distribution centers and how they tie back. So more ERP functions are their side, where we're more physically on the four walls of production.
Yeah, good. And I think I have just a little bit to add there. When I view inventories between ERPs and Innova, I like to view them as Innova has this nice itemized inventory where you have a really fine control over everything. And once it gets into your accounting software, you mostly just need to know the levels and the location. So it's kind of a different animal altogether.
Yeah. So I always say it's the usability. What's the use of that inventory? So we use, this is part of the production for us, right? It accounts of a total or a use into production, where ERP operates at a higher level of, okay, what's the overall kind of finance structure of it? So
yeah, good
question though.
Yeah, well, I think that's all the time we have. Thanks everyone for coming. Keep your eyes peeled for your event for the next session, and also the next in the series. So thanks again, and we will talk to you guys the next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.